the former WBF International Super Featherweight Champion and former WBF All Africa Lightweight Champion. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Ringside Talk with your host, David Rajuili. Once again, I promised you guys a very exciting guest. We're leaving South Africa today. We're leaving Africa on its own. We're going to Europe. I'll be talking to a very good friend of mine. He's actually a gym partner of mine. We train together in the same gym. He was born in the Ivory Coast. Now he boxes out of Denmark. He sits with a record of 11 fights, 1 win, 11 fights, 1 loss, 1 KO. My good friend and my gym partner, Landry Kore. What's
Hello,
happening,
everyone.
brother?
Super happy to be here, man. Thanks for having me.
No problem, brother.
Hi to everyone out there.
Yeah. Welcome, Landry. Welcome, Landry. This is my little talk show, brother. Yeah, man. I was just letting the viewers know that we train together under one camp. I met Landry when I came through to Germany, training with Dominic Younger. Bumped into this great man, Landry Kore. As I said to the viewers, Landry was born in the Ivory Coast, but he's going to tell us more about that. Landry, how's about you fill the viewers in with who you are, brother, where you come from? Yeah, man. Let us know your story, bro.
Oh, man, that's a long story, but we're trying to make it short, right?
Yeah, brother.
Yeah, I left Ivory Coast when I was around 11 and moved to Denmark with my father. And so I lived half of my life in Ivory Coast and then the rest in Denmark. So I basically grew up both places. But yeah.
Nice, bro. Wow, I moved from Ivory Coast to Denmark at that age, brother. Were you boxing when you moved to Denmark? How did that come about, bro? Was it just
It's funny, right? Yeah, but the thing is, like, when we talk about sport in Ivory Coast in Africa, it's like, they have this huge passion for football. And so in my mind, I was like, I'm going to be a football player. That was the dream, but it wasn't for me actually. I played a couple of years, but no, I was I think boxing was more therapy for me. So I ended up being a fighter, but I didn't fight until I actually got to Denmark, to Copenhagen.
Okay, were you boxing as a child in the Ivory Coast, or did the passion of boxing come in only in Denmark?
I mean, the passion of boxing, you in Ivory Coast, when you there was like fights, but it was only kids fights. If somebody was saying something to you, so you were just like, you're just dealing with that person right away. It's not like here, So no, boxing was not part of of my childhood like this, but I got it first later on when I got to Denmark. Yeah, nice. It was more football. Everybody was playing football on the street because of these big soccer players, these big football players. So that was like the main thing.
Who's the main guy there in Ivory Coast? It's Didier Drogba, right?
That's
that's the name, bro. Yes, bro. Yes.
So everybody, when the kid was like, oh wow, we're going to be like Didier Drogba. But now we have to change it, I hope today kids will be like, oh, we want to be like Landry Kore, hopefully.
Yeah, bro, that's the mission, I guess, bro. That's the mission. Very nice, bro. Very nice. So how did it all come about with the boxing moving to Denmark, as you said, at the age of 11?
Yeah, so, well, the story took like a pretty weird turn, right? So I moved to Denmark when I was 11. And actually 1 year after, my father and I, basically like went separate ways. I couldn't stay home anymore, so I ended up being in a foster home, and while being in that foster home, there was another kid, another young Danish boy that also lived there who also didn't live with his parents. So and he got bullied actually in school, and then I was like, oh, and we had to go to that boxing class because apparently the guy who he had problem with was a fighter, and then I was like, you know, like I told you in Ivory Coast, if somebody's like, hey, you fix it with that person, you know, you go face to face, and then so that was in my mind, like and by that time I think I was 13, so I was like, yeah, let's go to the gym. We just, you know, we're going to deal with this guy, and yeah. So we got to the gym, and I got my ass kicked by kids that were younger than me, and and then I was like fascinating. I was like, wow, it was so fascinating to see all this, like these young boys. I was 13; they were probably, I don't know, 10, 11. But I was like, how can they you know, how can they
How can they
punch me
beat
so
you,
much?
bro? Yeah,
They
yeah,
beat
yeah.
me like that, you know? And then I think the love for the sport came, like, you know,
From that moment.
from that moment.
Yeah, it
So we,
sounds like a lot of us. I remember myself walking into the gym for the first time with my mom and hitting the bag for the first time, and you
yeah,
straight away get hooked. You're like, bam! You're like,
yeah,
wow, what's this,
wow,
bro? Yeah,
wow,
yeah.
that
Here we are, 23 years later, still doing the sport. It's
yeah, man,
it's
it's
crazy, bro.
it's it's
So
crazy. But I think boxing is you know, it's a kind of therapy because, you know, with all these things happening in my life, you know, like leaving Africa, coming to Europe, and suddenly have to move out from home, from a family to a foster home, you know. So boxing was like a good way for me to, you know, to channel all my frustrations and
yes,
energy
yes,
and stuff.
yes.
So
No,
that's why
that's
I felt like it was. So I just went there because it was like a way for me to just, you
let
know,
loose. This take away all the other noise and just focus on
exactly,
this thing. I know what you're saying, bro. Nice,
exactly, yeah.
nice. And did you have any amateur career from that time? How was that always for you, bro? Did you do
Yeah, yeah,
amateurs in Denmark and all?
yes, yes. I ended up being an amateur for a couple of years actually. So you know, so I felt like, oh, boxing was a new thing for me, right? And well, I have to say, like, I was doing football before all this stuff, but it was not like serious. I went to a club, I was playing sometimes. So when I started doing boxing, and I got more ambitious, I, for somehow I was looking for the approval of the coach, and that coach was like, "Yeah, it's okay." You know, he didn't really
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah,
say
yeah.
anything. So the first year, I felt like I was training really hard. I felt like I was training so hard back then, yeah. And then after a year, he was like, "Okay, now you're ready for your first fight." And
Yeah,
um, and then that's how basically how it started. And yeah, I've been fighting a lot of amateur fights and
yeah.
became Danish champion and champion of the island, regional champion and national champion, all this stuff, fighting on the national team. But
Nice, bro.
but yeah, you know, the goals were now like to be a boxer like that. It was just to, you know, just have fun and stuff. So the ambition came later on, yeah. So I did have
Okay.
some,
So even during your amateur career, you say it was just a thing to, you can say, just cut off from all the noise with
yeah.
that going on. Not really a passion. When did your passion come about? Like, when did you say to yourself, "Hey, this is something that I could sit on, something I could build a future with"? You know, um,
Mm.
when did this come about for you? Because I know
That's
most of us, like, you know, even myself, when I fought, when not when I fought, when I went into amateur, I never knew I would be a champion. I just loved fighting, you know.
yeah.
So went in like, yeah, let's just, you know, win or lose, fight, bro. And
Yeah.
I think the hard work, you get the rewards. And then that's when I was like, you know, there's something here, you know, I can make something with it. When did your break come, bro? When were you like, You know, this is where the future is.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I just remember some small moments, right? Because even now, when you're telling me that, okay, you just wanted to do all these fights, and then I think it was like the whole transition to become like more serious with the sport and have all these goals. I think it came for me. I think it came back in 2010 or 11, and by that time I've been fighting. I started in 2004. I started boxing in 2004. So I think when we reached 2011, I got injured during training or something, some shoulder pain, shoulder injuries, and I got a surgery, and then I took some time off and went to Africa. And by that time, I've been in Africa since I came to Denmark. I've been in Africa once. So when I went back to Africa in 2011, for some, I don't know if maybe it was simply because I was older by that time, you know. I saw everything differently, you know, and then I realized like, okay, and then I don't know, when I was down there, I was like, wow, this is where I grew up. Wow, look at this place and look at these people and stuff. So there was a lot of thoughts going on in my mind, and I was like, okay, you know what? When I get to Denmark, I have to try to become a champion, amateur champion again, and I have to find a way to become a professional fighter and make a lot of money and help my family and stuff. That was actually like the goal, and that was in 2011. So yeah, from there I came back to Denmark and try again to become a champion, and I became champion of the region, you know, where Copenhagen is,
Yeah.
and we went to the nationals, and then I felt I got robbed, and then but I started working with people for somehow that I don't know, life or this universe, you know, everything just, you know, I attracted the people in order to reach all these goals, and then I met my mentor coach, Hadip, and I met another coach,
Yeah.
another amateur coach that I had before, and the way their mindset was, you know, was aligned with my vision and my goals. So we started working like crazy, and everything just started falling, you know, together.
Into
It
place.
into place, exactly.
That's amazing, bro. That's amazing. Also to know
Yeah.
that it sounds like you kind of had a team behind you when you started off your career, as I hear you saying, speaking about mentor coaches and uh, your amateur coaches, getting together and taking care of you. Tell me, at the age like that, coming into boxing, how important would you think mentor coaches are for young fighters coming into the sport of boxing, and to have that kind of team behind you starting a career? You know, especially some boxers they don't have such things. You know, we just go in, we take it out in. How important do you think this played in your role? To have such people in your team and stuff?
Well, I mean, that's kind of this difficult question, right? Because yes, if we're looking at the fact where we say like, oh, you know what, everything is possible, and and yes, you can maybe make it without having all these people around, but I'm pretty sure that it would be way easier if you have, you know, you would just, it's not that you're probably good. It's not like if you want to start your pro career and you have your mentor coach, Cutman, and all these people around you that you would become a world champion, but it
Yeah,
would make steps easier for you to reach your goals, right?
yeah,
I mean, progress. Uh, but in the same time, I think I think as a young fighter, and I can only talk for myself, my whole my whole youth and the way I was growing up and the things that I experienced, I think for somehow, you know, like it's not that I believe in God, but I feel like, you know, this life was like, okay, you need this mental coach in order for you to be on this path. Otherwise, like I would have been completely lost. So I attracted the right people around me in order to reach these goals, and I think that was the best thing that could happen in my life, actually. So I would say it's important for a lot of people to, in general, like even if they're not fighters, to have a mental coach, because the brain is also somehow like a muscle. You need to train it. You need to train it in different situations. How would you react? And not that I want to speak up about, but you know, you can be in moments where, like soldiers, for example, they train to react instantly when things happen, right? So it's the same with the mental coach or with your boxing coach. You know, you train different things, so everything happens like a reflex. You know,
Yes, I hear you.
Balance. Yeah.
I
So I
hear
think
you.
it's important. Yeah, it's important if you have the possibility, the opportunity to have one. But if not, it's not impossible. It's just it would probably take a little bit longer. You know.
I hear you, brother. I hear you. Landry,
Yeah.
just tell us more about your experiences as you were progressing from amateurs to the professional career. Which coaches you used? I will be back in 1 second, brother.
Okay. Well, so I got back from Ivory Coast, and then again, like I said, I started again my amateur career. I became champion, well, regional champion, and I went and I think I was third or fourth or something on the nationals. And from there, somehow I lost hope, you know, and then I went to the army. Now I was talking about soldiers, and the whole audition with this big German promoter came up, and then I went to the audition just to show up, you know. Not I don't know if I like was aiming for to get my shot, but I went there to, you know, to show up, and and I end up having a contract with the promoters. So yeah, my debut and my first pro fight, that was that was a little bit. I had so many thoughts going on in my mind. So I somehow I felt like in that moment, seeing all the lights, the camera, knowing that people at home watching me and stuff, it was just so different. So my head had to be like, you know. But I think it was at this moment it was a really good thing to have my mentor coach to get me like focused on the goal. But the first round was really bad, and then I think I did well the remaining rounds and actually won my debut fight. Yeah.
That's wow, brother. I was listening to you there now. That's amazing,
Yeah.
brother. You know, I think these mentor coaches actually bring a big they play a big part in athletes' lives. You know, especially as you said, you need to train the mind as well with the right, feed the mind with the right things to go into fights and stuff. And it sounds like, you know, this mentor coach of yours really helped you get your mind strong, even with everything around you happening, to prepare you for your first fight and moving forward, which is a very good thing, brother. Very good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard you speaking about a little bit, you touching about you were in the army and stuff, bro. Did you ever
Yeah.
box for the army?
No, actually no. I was doing some training there. I got actually an offer to fight for, I don't know the name in English. I think it's military boxing. They have a tournament.
Yes, yes.
Uh, but I said no, because at the time when I went there, I was fed up. You know, I didn't want to do any boxing anymore. I felt like I got robbed at the national,
Yes.
and then I was like, man, this goal, this dream that I told myself, like, oh, when I get back to Denmark, I have to become I have to become a champion, professional. Now I lost everything. You know, doesn't matter anymore. I don't want to do anything with boxing. I can find another way. And then I went to the army. So while being in there, I was training boxing with some of the other guys, but I never
Really
participated
fought.
in
Okay.
no any military boxing.
Okay. Nice, brother. So you must have learned some stuff in the training, some
Yeah,
stuff in the army and all of that.
but I wasn't. How do you say it? You know that that place where I was more logistic. So you know we had to move things from A to B and do
Okay.
some different thing. But it wasn't like I wasn't in there to try to kill people.
Fights and stuff like that. Very
Yeah,
interesting, bro. So
yeah.
now let's touch back on your boxing career, your professional career, brother. You say you started off, you had your first professional fight, and then walk us through, brother, meeting all these different promoters, coming into the sport of boxing. You know, you've got your mental coach, and boom, here you are. You know, managers, sponsors, and you're hitting this boxing life. A guy from Africa in Denmark. Walk us through how was that for you and the challenges that you kind of faced as an outsider. I don't know if you ever felt you were an outsider coming from another continent. Let's hear that from you, brother.
Well, I think this is something that you somehow always have in the back of your mind, but you don't really think so much about it. But I think I think when I turned pro and I had so many I challenged myself in many ways and then I saw a lot of things that I couldn't really explain, but I was discussing I had so many subjects to discuss with my mental coach again, just to mention him that I was spending so much time with this guy all the time, you know, from private to training and from amateur to pro as well. So yeah, you know, when I turned pro, I was like, I saw all these guys they were all, you know, the big names, the top names, and I was like, okay, how can I get myself to that position? You know, I wasn't hating on them. I was like, I saw it as a competition, as a challenge, you know, a way for me to improve, and and then I figured out like, and later on I figured out, okay, boxing is a business thing, you know, and it's, of course you need to have the talent and you know you have to be a good fighter, but it's also showbiz, so you have to have a mixture of both things,
Yeah.
and I was so focused on like, oh, I need to fight like this, I need to do this, but you meet different things along the way that you know, I don't know how to put it, and I don't want to say it, but yeah, I definitely did feel sometimes like, oh man, if I was Danish, that probably things would have been different, but I don't know if it would.
Yeah.
That's maybe it's just the timing that was not right. Maybe it was just my luck that was not right, and so on. So I can't really say like, oh, it's simply because I'm an outsider, but I definitely think that that can also play a role in things, right? But even having all this stuff, I was like, it doesn't matter. I was still gonna make it happen, and then I felt
Yeah.
like I managed to make it happen anyway,
Yeah.
because people start falling off, and yeah, you know, I got all the tools from the coaches, from the mental coach, and everything. So I was like, okay, now I know this is my grind. I have to work hard, and that's my talent, right? And then the rest would just come, and
Oh,
things kept coming, you know, step by step.
nice, bro. And if you walk us through your fights, bro, you fought for the IBO Mediterranean title, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, walk us through that. and the road to that title.
Yeah. So that was also huge. There was so many things on the private in my private life that was happening. It's crazy. I had my daughter that just came to life, and there was so much drama on my private life that I don't want to talk about. But it was so crazy. So my mind was like, okay, now I have this fight, right? I was dreaming of about having a green belt, yeah, and I was thinking about WBC, but IBO is also green, so fine. And I got this offer, and I was like, yes, we're gonna make it happen. And I end up moving to Finland in Helsinki, where I was training with the coach there in yeah, and preparing for this fight. And when I and we went to Belgium. I think the fight was in Belgium. I was fighting a French guy, and yeah, the first 3 rounds, that was probably the how I was surprised. Like, this guy was so good. He was punching so hard. At that moment, I felt like, wow, this is a tough fight. Like, maybe I shouldn't have taken that fight. He hit me so hard, you know. But I don't know. Round 4 and 5, I was like, okay. I was just in survival mode, and I think in the 5th round I came back on top, and yeah, and then I placed a couple good punches to the liver, and I got him down. And
Yes,
from that moment, I was like, wow, okay, all these dreams, all these goals that I'm putting on mine, now it's happening. It's crazy. And the funny thing is, before that there was a I remember there was a journalist in Danish journalist who made like a ranking of all the fighters in Denmark, like in this big newspaper in Denmark. And they mentioned all these guys, and by that time I already had a couple fights on TV as well. And he didn't even put my name in there. And I was like, excuse my friend, but like, what the fuck is this, And I had to tweet like, oh yeah, just wait, when I win my fight,
you'll
And
see.
he's like, yeah, but you can fight another Danish fighter to prove that you're really good. And it's like, and I think
Always,
Augustine was motivation.
yeah. In the sport, you always get your critics and your no says
It's
and
crazy.
your haters and stuff, bro. But winning
It's
that
crazy.
title, even the way you're explaining that story, I can see it was a very big moment in your life, bro. I know what those kind of moments were, and I'm sure I heard you say you were going for a green belt. You were wishing at WBC, but the IBO, even winning that, that must have just gave you that feeling of all the hard work you've put through when you had those dreams. You said you went home and you were like, no, I'm going back to Denmark to become a champion and to win that IBO title. That must have really uh, set yourself to say, you can achieve this, you can really do this. Set yourself to bigger goals and stuff, bro.
Yeah, indeed. It feels like, I don't know, man. I don't even know how to explain it. Like, you've been training, you've been reading a lot for this exam, and then you finally pass it, and you're like, oh, I made it. But now
Yes,
comes the real challenge. It was, it was unreal. It was like, what is the word for it? Like, it was too much, just
yeah, yeah.
being in that
Even
moment.
like overwhelming and
Yeah, I
no,
was super overwhelmed, and there were so many things happening at the same time. But even when I won that belt, mental coach was like, "Yeah, now starts the real work," and I'm like, "Man,
yeah.
we're never gonna catch a break or what? Like, let me enjoy for a moment." Like, nah, now starts the real thing. And it did. And from there, I started having like amazing experiences again. This German company contacted me, and end up going to the United States, and got to see, got to be around like top fighters, and it was amazing for me to get the chance to experience all this stuff that I never dreamt of
Yeah,
being.
bro. How's about you tell us some of that? I know you've spoken to me in the gym about your trips, your train. You've done some training in the United States. That's actually quite amazing from hearing a story, you know, from a young man coming out of the Ivory Coast, finding himself fighting in Denmark, you know, pushing, becoming champion, then moving on to training in the United States. It's like, it just seems like you were just going from one point to the next, just going up, bro, just going up. Tell us more about that, where you trained, how it was, uh, training in America from then, you know. I know it's all different and stuff, bro. How's about you
Yeah.
lay it down? Yeah.
Well, I had two different experience of being in the United States, and the first one was right after before I got the belt. I went to the United States when my contract ended with that German company where I had my debut and stuff. So when I was in the States, it was just a different mindset. Like it was a small place, but still, the guys there were their way of thinking boxing and seeing boxing and fighting in general was just so different than what I was used to in Copenhagen, in Denmark, and coming back from there. So well, when I went to the States in 2015 for the first time, I had a fight later on that year, if I remember correctly, or maybe 1 year after. And when I got back to Denmark, that's where I got offered that title fight. But that time I already had this mindset from all these guys that I've been working with in the States, and I was just like my mind was just somewhere else. Like I felt like I evolved to a different fighter than I was.
Okay.
Until I got the belt, and now I had to see the second part where I went to the gym again and where around big names like Kelly Plant, how you say it, Romero, and all these guys from what is his name? All these Mayweather guys. I don't really remember all this name, but doing sparring with some of the guys there, and it was just a different. It was just a different mindset, when they're in there, when they're sparring or fighting, and just training in general is just like,
On another
it's
level.
different. It's another level. So even when I won the belt, I felt like, oh yeah, now I stepped up. Until I got there, and it was like next time again. It was amazing. It was really, really amazing. And then I would definitely suggest everybody, young fighters, just at least to go there, just to experience that.
Yeah, bro. I want to
For
actually touch on that, bro. The different types of training style. I've also been around, you could say, the world, trained in Holland and all. I've seen all different types of training.
exactly.
Your training, when you say in the States, bro, it's another level. To give us some of the, touch on some of the experience. What you mean on another level for viewer back at home who would want to find out what does he mean on another level? Because
Yeah.
all gyms, all boxing gyms, road work is essential. Everybody runs.
But it's true. It's
Sparring is
true.
essential. Everybody spars. Everyone hits back. So when you
Yeah.
say it's a whole nother level, what do you mean by that, brother?
Well, I think again, maybe I'm just talking about myself. Again, that was my experience, and from that point where I started to where I was at that moment, I felt like for me it was another level. But now, by after having all this experience, being here in Germany, I feel like this is the next level for me, and I feel like this is the top level for me. And
Okay.
so right now, like if you were like, oh, do you want to go to the States? Yeah, I wouldn't mind going there just to do some sparring, but I don't feel like I
You
will
would
improve
train.
more. Yeah,
Okay.
like my training right now and the coach that I have right now, like this is the best thing that can happen for
Yeah.
me. So, and this is also the main reason why I moved to Germany and here and staying here and stuff. But at that time, I would say it was the next level, mostly because of the mindset. You have to grow as an athlete, as a person as well. And being in Copenhagen, I felt like I was too much in my comfort zone, even though I was training hard. at the time I was training, I was pushing the guys around me, but I felt like coming to the States, which was also a dream, just lift me up to a whole different beast that I turned out to be later on. I learned so many things about myself. I was there around 2 years almost by myself, like without having any friends or anybody. I just got to know all these people that I was working with there. So it was a completely different thing. So that's what I mean with I got to another level. But but it doesn't mean that. But of course, like of course, like you said, training in Africa, training in Holland, training in Germany, like it's different styles, you know, and you have to take what fits to you, right? But the guys in the States, I would say, train different, and probably because there are so many fighters there compared to Copenhagen. I think in Copenhagen there's less than 100 fighters, professional fighters. So
in the States, there's like 100,000, bro.
yeah, probably per state. You know, it's crazy.
That's interesting, bro. Very, very interesting. And I've heard some stories from people in America, and they also say with the different training, it's not like if you train in the States and if you train in Mexico, you better because you're in the States. No. Just how you train in the gym and how you work with your trainer and to adapting to the styles and all. And now your move, bro. If the viewers don't know, Landry, we train under the same coach, Mr. Dominique Younger at Mach 1 Gym here in Germany. So
you said it in German.
Sometimes. But man, tell me how you met the good man Dominique Younger. I know he's taken care of you for a couple of years now, and he's doing some good work with you. Tell us this journey you have with Coach.
Yeah, I met Dominic. I met Dominic the year, or maybe 1 year after I got my belt, actually. So when I got my belt, I got offered a management contract by a German company, and they were looking for a new coach for me, and that's how they sent me to the City Cow School, where I had to do some training with Dominic, and that's basically how we started working together. And I think the chemistry, went good. And even when I stopped, when we stopped working together as the management and I, when our contract ended, I kept working with Dominic simply because I don't know. I think there's many things here. I always say that I think the way he's giving you instructions, because I've met so many different coaches, and the stereotypes in boxing is like, oh, these coaches are like drunk and stuff like that. But this guy is not only is taking care of himself, but he studies boxing also. Like he's always trying to improve not on himself but also on you, and I think that I was like, wow, okay, I'm studying boxing, but my coach is also studying boxing. So it's like always, so it's not like, oh yeah, now you do this because this is how it is,
No.
I had coaches be like, yeah, when I was a kid, I was punching like this, and now you have to do it without explaining anything. You're like, it doesn't make any sense, and I feel like in order to, again, grow in this sport, you have to keep learning all the time. And I'm super happy to have a coach who's hungry to learn new stuff, but also helping me improve on many things. So I've been working with Dominic for a couple of years now, and even though to this day we're still improving on different parts, so that's amazing. And I guess you also feel the same.
Yeah, bro. I'll be honest. He's like the professor. He's like the genius. In the movie, in the series on Netflix series, there's that heist. They have the professor. We have our professor there in culture, Dominic Younger.
Exactly.
No, he's done. Yeah. For me, I've trained, as you said, I've trained with many trainers also around the world, and for me, his training is just very different. You learn more, you improve. He learns, you learn, everybody learns. It's wonderful, bro. Yeah, and I'm excited just to put his work in action. Yeah, man. So with Dominique, how many fights have you had and all? Don't know still with it.
I don't know. I don't think I had that many fights with Dominic, but I think six. I think
Yeah.
6 fights with Dominic. Or five. I don't. 5 or 6 or something like that.
Okay.
So yeah, most of my last fight was actually the fight that went worse, but
The
I
rest
still
of
feel
it.
like but I still feel like I didn't lose. I just simply didn't do enough during the fight, but I definitely won the fight. That's for sure. But unfortunately, my coach Dominic, our coach, if the people don't know it, he got hit by corona, like a really bad one. So he
Yeah,
was
I remember that.
in the
I
hospital
remember
for
that.
over 1 month, and my promoter tried to find the best way for me to prepare for this fight. So he sent me to Mexico, so I stayed in
Yes, I
Mexico
remember that. Who were you
yeah.
training with there in Mexico again? It's a famous boxer. I've seen Michael. Who were you
Oh
training with
yeah,
there? Yes.
yes, I was training with, but I was training with Michel Soro. He's fighting for the WBA super welterweight title in a couple of months. But yeah, I was training with Mr. So, but before that, I was training with other, how do you say it, teammates. You know, we have the same promoter. Pretty like this guy is definitely going to be he's a future star. Your Elvis Gomez.
Almost, yes.
Yeah, he's a Cuban fighter. He's so amazing. He's crazy, and a couple other Cuban fighters as well. So
Okay.
so yeah, so I was around like really really good guys also in Mexico. And again, when we talk about the fighters and training ethics and way of training, even in Mexico in the gym where I was, and these guys like they don't have much, but bro, I'm telling you, they are working like so crazy. When like in a small village in a place called
Yes.
Timoya, not only was high altitude training, but these guys and girls were just like training like and I barely could like keep up. I was like, wow, this is the next level. So that's
It's the Mexican level.
yeah, it's a Mexican level. This guy's been running like crazy. But it was amazing to be around that place. You have a lot of famous fighters there. You had Chavez Jr., you have what is his name, Jim Munguia. He had to do sparring with Michel Soro as well, and you have Cesar Martinez. He fought Chocolatito for not that
Yes.
long, so there
Yes.
was good fighters around. So that's also really good, just to see and learn. Also, just to be around all these guys. Yeah.
Nice, bro. Nice, bro. Also, bro, now we're just going to touch a little bit about your other stuff in your life.
Yeah.
As you see, we're talking, bro. We're talking. How we going, bro? I've seen you winning awards and stuff, bro. You're not just a boxer. You're like a Will Smith. They're winning Oscars and
No,
awards, bro. Oh, being nominated. What? You there, Landry?
I
What did
don't
I say?
want to be I don't want to be like Will Smith making people like on national TV.
Yeah, man. So what I was saying is, tell us more about your. I know there's a short documentary on you, bro. You've been nominated for a few awards, big awards, on your boxing documentary. It's called "They Call Me Landry." For the viewers, you guys can check it out. It's on YouTube, and Landry will tell us more about that. Yeah, bro. Tell us about your documentary, what awards it's been up for, how this came about, bro.
Well, it was I got contacted by Danish film crew, Circus Alphaville, and the producer Mito, that's his name actually. And I think it was back in 2016 or 15 or something. After a couple of fights, I was fighting for this big German company back then. So I was on TV and stuff. So I think it was probably much easier for them to reach out because my name was out there. I think in the beginning the plan wasn't like I don't think they knew exactly my background, but later on when we started talking, they decided to make it like this
film, movie, documentary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, and these guys are super top professional, and they made this amazing movie. They went to Africa with me to see different places where I lived and grew up, and people that I met, when I was a kid and stuff. And yeah, the movie was just so beautiful. But he won a lot of awards. I can't really name all of them, but he won a lot
Yeah, I
of
saw.
awards. So,
Yeah, I've also watched the movie. It's a pretty good short movie. For those who haven't watched it, you can check it out on YouTube. It's called They Call Me Landry. It's a nice little short film about Landry, and it's amazing. Should have a watch at that. So Landry, now going back into the boxing. I know you're working with our coach. We're all working together.
yeah.
You had the mishap, I think it was last year or after Corona, you had the fights and you had that mishap here in Germany. I'm sure you've dusted yourself back. I know you're back in the gym. We're working hard. What's any fight news? What's the future looking for Landry at the moment?
Well, there's been plenty of fight news actually, but I didn't really want to put it out there because I've been so unlucky, and I'm joking with it like, oh, now I'm getting old, but I don't know. I'm so unlucky with all my injuries and stuff. But right now it looks like my promoter is working on a big fight against a tough opponent in May.
Right.
So
Okay,
yeah,
nice.
I'm looking forward to it. It's probably going to be a 10-rounder,
Oh, nice.
a big name. So yeah, that's
Yeah,
that's
we'll
why
be. You can't say yeah, but we'll be waiting to hear the fight news from that. Now in May, I'm also in May, so I know
so we're
I
gonna
know
be
we'll be,
busy.
yeah, we're gonna be busy, bro. I know camp is gonna be nice and exciting. But yeah, man, Landry, I'm gonna shoot you off with a few questions, brother, just at the top of
Okay.
your head, for the guests at home before we close, and just ask you while we do that, just think of some nice closing statement for the viewers or whatever. Okay, I'm gonna hit you with 5 just random questions. Okay, brother.
Okay.
Favorite boxer of all time for you, Mr. Landry?
Ali.
Ali. Nice one, bro. Favorite food?
Oh, sauce graine. That's an Ivorian dish.
What's that?
It's called sauce graine, but I also say it in French. But sauce graine is a dish from Ivory Coast.
Okay, explain it, bro.
So it's the palm fruit. I don't know if you know the palm fruit. It's like now you're
Okay.
gonna get me. Now you're gonna make me explain some African
Okay.
dish here. Nah, I can do it. So you serve it with rice. It's palm fruit, but palm fruit. The palm fruit is like the small red ones. Yeah. So they
Yes.
mash it, and then they get the juice out of it, and then they cook it to. Yeah, I don't know how to explain it, man, but
Sounds nice.
but it's called sauce crème.
You better get me some, bro. Better get me some,
Yeah,
bro.
for sure.
Nice, bro. Favorite day of the week?
For what
Favorite
did you
day
say?
of the week?
It's probably Wednesday.
Wednesday.
Yeah.
Not Thursday, not race day, bro.
No, Wednesday, because I'm like, let me just get this thing over so I know tomorrow is my day off. So So I love my Wednesdays.
Nice, bro. Quick one. Camboza Henley.
Oh, Kambuza. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Like
Yeah.
yeah, him simply because of this, warrior mindset. He's
He's like a
even though
Ratulo
he's a
Getty.
champion now. Yeah. What?
I said he reminds me a bit of Arturo Getty.
Yeah, exactly. Having this underdog mindset. I like that.
Nice, bro. Two more questions. We do one more to do with boxing. Stevenson's and what is my favorite boxer, bro? The Stevenson's fight.
Yeah. Yeah, Steven, he's fighting. Is he fighting a Mexican guy or something? Oh
Yes.
no. Yeah.
He is a Mexican.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll come
Well, I
back to
was
that
watching.
one. We'll
Okay.
come back to that one. The last question, bro. In the next 5 years, if you're in the boxing, where would you say you want to be in the next 5 years?
Well,
In the
in the
boxing.
next 5 years, if I'm still in boxing, well, then I think I'll probably work with some young athletes from Africa. Trying to give them an opportunity to become a champion.
Nice, bro. That's nice. Very touching, bro. Respect. Okay, Stevenson's Alvarez. Yes, no, man.
Alvarez.
I just had his name on
Yeah.
my tongue. You know when it rolls off,
Yeah.
bro.
Man, Stevenson
Valdez.
he's so
Valdez
smart,
and
man.
Stevenson's, bro.
But that's gonna be a tough one. Well,
Oscar
it's gonna be a tough
Valdez.
one, but I think Stevenson's gonna come on top.
You think so, bro?
Yeah, technical. I think he's gonna be smart enough to.
I don't know. I think a knockout for me for Valdez, bro.
Oh,
Oscar
yeah.
Valdez win knockout round 7, round 8.
Wow. Really?
I think
Yeah,
so,
but I
bro.
think he's gonna be surprised, man, because this kid, I think he will be able to adjust and then be like smart enough, not to go into any weird fight, make the
Yeah.
fight easy for himself.
For himself, yeah, he's gonna need to box, but I think, yeah, for me, Oscar Valdez is number 1 pound for pound at the moment. So I
Yeah.
don't see. Yeah, he needs to fight with me. Then we'll see that changes.
Yeah, exactly. From there, we can put the rankings. We'll be like, okay, now you can. Yeah.
Okay, nice, Landry, nice, bro. And yo, brother, once again, thanks for taking time to come chat with me here on Ringside Talk. We heard a lot about you, got to really know who you are, where you come from. Very touching story, bro. And yeah, I only see you going up and going forward. Excited for this year for you. Excited to start camp with you on Monday. And yeah, bro, if you want to just leave the viewers back at home, some new viewers that are watching you, where they can find you, yeah, just tell the viewers where to look out for you, where they can find you, and yeah, a little bit about your documentary, just your link or whatever, please, bro.
Well, to anyone who is interested in watching the documentary, you can find the link on my Instagram page, isn't it? Instagram page. Yeah, the link is in the bio, and yeah. But I think the only thing I can say is, like, to anybody out there, if you know a boxer, or if you just keep supporting these guys, man, they all need it. I feel like boxing doesn't get that much love, because people have so many stereotypes. So it's important to just support these guys, man. They sacrifice a lot, they dedicate a lot of things, from family, from friends and stuff, just to try to make you and, this sport being something. Yeah. So just keep supporting fighters, man.
Yeah, bro, it's true. Eh? We need all the support we can get from the fans. The fans are what keeps us going at the end of the day. No fans, no fight.
Yeah.
Oh, boring fight. But we fight for the fans and we fight for the love of the sport. That's a very nice one. Guys, yeah, keep supporting the boxers out there, the local boxers. And yeah, Landry, thanks for kicking it with me tonight on Ringside Talk, brother. Thanks for your time. I really enjoyed chatting with you, brother. I will see you on Monday. Road work tomorrow morning, bro. And thanks for being on the show, bro.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Thank you, my brother.